We're thrilled to be representing South Alabama, University of South Alabama, in the 68 Ventures Bowl. This is an exciting opportunity for our university, our football program. It's an exciting opportunity for our community. We have not. We've had a bowl game longer than we've had a football program in Mobile, which is really special. I actually, my first time in Mobile, I mentioned to Jerry a while back, my dad was the defensive coordinator at Southern Miss, and they played TCU. Gary Patterson's first ever head coaching job, as a matter of fact. He had just taken over at TCU in the second ever bowl game here, and that was my first experience of Mobile's bowl game. And so it is tremendously exciting to represent our football team here. To be able to do it inside Hancock Whitney Stadium is special. That's something that we really appreciate, and we really are. We're thrilled to experience this bowl game. We talked about having a bit of a staycation, which is a neat deal. I argue with Mobilians all the time that I don't think people from this community always know how great we have it, and this is a truly special city with a lot of great history and tradition and experiences that families and different from different ages can enjoy, and so we're appreciative to be able to experience those things. We're very happy to have Eastern Michigan here with us as well. Chris Creighton's football teams, again, I think the best compliment you can give is that they embody the personality of their head coach, and the more I have gotten to know Chris, the more impressed I am with who he is as a man and a football coach. His team is tough. They are disciplined. They play great complementary football, and they do hard things in hard times, which is something that we've talked about all season long. Our football team, we've had some special moments this season. We've had some tough moments, and we talked about doing hard things in hard times, and I think ultimately that is the test of any person, any team, any organization. Can you work to become the best version of yourself even when you don't always get rewarded? And we live in a reward and consequence game in college football, and we're very proud to be one of the teams representing the Sun Belt in a bowl game, and so excited for the opportunity tomorrow.
Coach, when you knew this was going to be the matchup, did you call Tom Allen to try and get a leg up on him?
No, I did talk to Tom. I think I called you before I called anybody else, or you called me, I think, and we had a chance to kind of visit right there. Bowl season, right? There's wizards behind curtains, I guess, that make those decisions on the matchups of bowl games, and so those are things that you're always trying to find out as soon as you can of who your matchup is and try to get an early start. I've realized this with bowl games over the years. My dad taught me this a long time ago. During bowl preparation, especially now with recruiting, if you don't take an aggressive approach to game planning early, you get overwhelmed as you get closer to the bowl game itself. Obviously, the early signing period has made that process even more challenging. I would argue, the transfer portal has radically transformed how we have to navigate. I think everyone in college football that is participating in a bowl game is trying to make sure they retain their team for that bowl game, and they also are trying to anticipate a game plan based off of the players that they think that they're going to see or may not see in a bowl game. And so that's made a radical difference in terms of how we all have to prepare. But ultimately, you got to get an early jump on it because things can get away from you quickly. And I think our staff's done a tremendous job of that.
What's the experience been like so far playing your bowl game at home, experiencing all the bowl things, but still being in your home?
I think it's been a tremendous experience. It's been great for our guys. It's fun to watch our guys go downtown or go to Dolphin Island or go to Fort Whiting and have an event. I've never done this before. I've never gotten to experience this before in our own community. I think we all do that, right? We get in this mode of this is where we live and this is where we work, and we get in our, I know my route to get to work and back to my house, right? And you don't sometimes get out and experience things. And I think that's one of the luxuries that I have as a college coach's son. Growing up in different communities, I always wanted to explore. I always wanted to find the best in that city and community. And so I've encouraged our guys to do the same, and I think they've done that. I would argue there are great things about being at home for your bowl game. There's also challenges to that as well. There's a fine line of familiarity and also making sure that you have an urgency to get yourself ready and prepared for the bowl game. We've kind of approached this last week as a normal week in preparation for the players. But there are things that we do, like go to Dolphin Island, that we didn't do the week we played Oklahoma State. So those are things that we have to kind of learn and navigate, and I think our guys have done a really good job of that so far.
You talked about how tough this Eastern Michigan team is. What do you see on tape that makes you go, and you guys are good?
Well, I think first and foremost, you cannot let them just establish a line of scrimmage. They are a very physical football team. I think they're very well coached up front on both sides of the ball. They do a tremendous job of establishing toughness. They embody that, obviously through Chris and the way he builds his program. It is evident at every step of the way of the toughness and physicality that they try to present, and I think that's a real challenge. And you can't let a team like that establish those things early. And so we've got to do our fair shot of matching that physicality, matching that toughness pound for pound. So I think they are really challenging in terms of I think they're very smart about how they operate offensively. I do know that there's times, obviously, where they like to be a little more efficient in the passing game, but they are very smart about how they do it and how they go about it, and they create explosive plays when they can stay on schedule, and it makes it challenging for you to force you to be able to honor the run, and it can put you in some tough matchups in the passing game and some one-on-one things that we've got to be very mindful of from a defensive perspective. And then offensively, when we've been good this year, we've established a run game, and when we've had challenges and tough games, we haven't been able to establish a run game, and this is a very difficult team to be able to run the ball both schematically and physically in their personnel. So we will have our work cut out for us in that regard.
Quarterback, running back, receiver, you've had injuries, you had transfers.
Yeah.
Who are some of the guys you expect maybe to take on larger roles at those times?
Well, obviously very fortunate to have Braylon McReynolds back the last couple of weeks here. That was a huge get, broke his collarbone right there at the beginning of the season against Tulane. Didn't think we were going to have him for the rest of the season, and we're really excited that we did. And thank goodness, with LaDamian being out for this game. Kentrell Bullock has had a really great bowl preparation. You're going to see a good bit of him. We got P.J. Martin his 4 games before we could, preserve his red shirt. But he will get to play in this game as well, so you'll see things from him as well. I've been really impressed with Javon Ivory and Jamal Pritchett. Both those guys with the loss of Colin Lacey have done a kind of a great job of taking ownership over that room. I think they've brought guys along like Shamar Sangren and Anthony Eager, Jeremiah Webb. I think you'll see all 3 of those guys on game day as well. And then, of course, we've got tight ends, and we use them in a lot of different ways. And DJ Thomas has done some really special things. I'm still in my recruiting mode right there. That was a slip up, Craig. DJ Butler's a running back. We lost, but anyway, I think utilizing our tight ends the way that we do, I think we'll do some of those things in the passing game as well.
Khalil Jacobs got the 5 jersey this
Yeah.
week. Just what about him makes him stand out?
Well, for those of you that don't know, the 5 jersey is very important to us. I had the great fortune of working for our first head coach in our program's history, Joey Jones. His first team captain was Anthony Mastella, who was just a tremendous young man. I never got a chance to meet him, but listening to the way Joey talked about him after our first season, he was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident, and for that team a bunch of young men that came here to build something. You know, what we stand in here was an intramural field. That indoor was just a hill. There was no field house. There was no practice fields, and those young men came to build something here in Mobile, Alabama, and we stand on the foundation that those young men laid, including Anthony. And so every week someone will represent our team in the number 5 jersey. I think it's very special. When you go through bowl preparation, I think Chris would agree with this. You know, bowl preparation can also be an extension of your off season in terms of you get extra reps like spring ball, and you see young men take kind of that next level ownership. And Khalil Jacobs is a perfect example of that, of a guy that I think is starting to take ownership of this football team. He is very talented. He has played a good bit this year, has earned a starting role on our team in that linebacking core, but is now taking the ownership from a leadership standpoint, and very pleased with what I've seen from him over the last month, and thought he's the most deserving of the 5 jersey in our last game.
Yeah, I too want to thank everybody involved for allowing us to come back and be a part of this. You know, there's a lot of talk about the significance, the meaning, you know, of bowl games. And I promise you, if you talk to anybody on our staff or anybody on our team, and whether that's in July or in December, they're a really big deal to us. And we don't take it for granted at all. We're super, super excited about this opportunity. When we were here a couple years ago, we had a phenomenal experience all the way through the end of pregame. And then everything after that didn't go so well. And, you know, it's fun to see. It's the first time I've been to a bowl for the second time. And I love when people just try to get better. That's what we try to do constantly. And it was a fantastic experience 2 years ago, and you can just see the attention to detail of just trying to make it better. So we do truly appreciate being here. And you know, Kane and I have never worked together, but we have some very close mutual friends. And so without coach speak, you know, I can tell you what you already know, that you have a phenomenal human being leading the program here, and obviously a super talented coach who's attracted a great staff, and obviously quality players. And it's really easy to see that on film, but even just being with them a couple of these events that we've been at, you know, just a first-class program, not surprised in the least. And so congratulations again to you and all that you've accomplished here. So we had high expectations coming into this season. Had one of our better years really in the history of the program last year, topping it off with a win at the famous Idaho Potato Bowl against San Jose State, and really good off season and all of that. And you know, won our first game and then got beat by Minnesota, and came back and won a couple games as we got started in the Mid-America Conference, and then had a 3-game losing streak, and right in the heart, you know, of the season. And, you know, we've had our banquet, and so I've had my time of reflection. And although we, you know, didn't go undefeated, you know, that's what you dream about for 8 months before the season starts. I'll tell you what, we talk about toughness, and I think when people first hear of that word, you think about the physical aspect, and sometimes not in a positive way. And in our football program is built on toughness, and it's built on mental toughness, I would say, and emotional toughness, along with just our guys' care for each other. And so after three losses that were, you know, super painful, each in their own way, we had to ask the question, like, who are we? You know, what are we going to do? How are we going to respond to this? Are we going to fold, or are we going to fight, put our feet in the ground, and really try to finish strong? And I will always remember this team because we did not fold, made the decision to fight, and finished off with 2 really strong victories in our league, a double overtime win, and then an away win at Buffalo. And you know, this team, we had to prove that we still had that E tough, and we did. And so we feel as though we've worked really hard and fought hard to be able to be here and to play a great program like South Alabama. And we are really, really excited about the opportunity and going to do everything we can to end this on a really high note. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Now that you're through the week of preparation, what are your plans at quarterback? How do you have a handle on what you're going to do there?
Yeah, so we are going to be playing probably both quarterbacks as we go through it. Ike has been our backup throughout the season and had a couple opportunities early in the season and one in the middle of the season. Had anticipated him playing that full game against Western Michigan and ended up getting injured. Was not able to finish that game. And so he's had just a little bit of a taste, right, of being out there. I think everybody's excited for him, for this opportunity. He's a natural leader. The guys really respond to him. And so we're all excited about him getting a shot. And then probably played even less was Cameron McCoy, just a dynamic athlete, great human being, multi-sport athlete. And so we're hoping that we'll get to see him some as well.
The other thing, how are you handling? How do you think the team's handling being the home team on the road, so to speak?
Yeah, we're going to wear green, but we're the visitors. We understand that. But again, it's part of we have always been the underdogs, and that's just that's who we are, and we're very comfortable with that. So we'll be wearing green, but we know where we're playing, and again, super excited about being here and all that. But I think we're one of two of the 41 bowls not played at a neutral site. But again, I mean, we have no issues with that whatsoever.
Coach,
Yeah.
can you give us your general impressions of what you're up against in South Alabama, what you've seen in film on that team?
Well, so the first time that I got to see your team, play this year was when we're getting ready for Central Michigan, which was actually our first Mid-America game. And so I think you played somebody in Stillwater early. Yeah, Oklahoma State, and just absolutely buried them. I mean, it was a phenomenal display, and had no idea that we'd be seeing each other or playing each other or anything like that. But that was a wow game, in every way. I mean, nationally, right? So then it was the week after that Central Michigan from our conference came down here and locked horns, and so we got to watch that game. And without giving scheme stuff away, I mean, they know who they are is the first thing that I would say, and that is one of the biggest compliments that you can give a program. Starting with their defense, they know what they're doing. They know how they do it. Very good at disguising what they're doing, both in the front and in the secondary. And again, after 12 games of watching it, they're really good at it. Obviously, have great players and are really well coached, but getting in and out of multiple fronts, and then it's really difficult to know what coverage that they're going to be in. And so, any pre-snap read, you try to find indicators, but a lot of the processing is going to have to happen once the ball's snapped, and that's difficult. So they're really good. I think they're a top 30 defense in the United States of America, and that's after 12 games. So, that's just an awesome testament, to their program. And then offensively, obviously they're really good. They scored 33 points, at Oklahoma State, and have had some monster games. To me, you always got to look at the offensive line. If you don't have an offensive line, then you can't do what they've done. And so they're really good there. And then, both in the air and on the ground, and really whichever quarterback, they're not all the same at quarterback. But again, they know who they are, and they can do it on the ground and in the air, and have done so effectively throughout. So, I mean, it's going to be a monster challenge for us. There's no question. There's not holes, for us to attack. We're just going to have to play really, really sound, and to play, with major determination.
On the flip side, can you talk about the strengths on both sides of the ball for your team?
Yeah, we've been led by our defense and our special teams units this year. I'll start with our special teams. We've got, starting with our specialists, Stephen Bird has been our long snapper since the late 1900s, it seems like, but has, not missed a game and really not missed a snap. Just he's a leader. I mean, how many guys have leaders in their program that are long snappers? Well, we do. In Stephen Bird, he's excellent. And then, our punter was named All-American this year. Is just finishing up his sophomore season in Mitchell Tomasek, and he's earned that recognition. He's just he's an outstanding punter. And that matters. None of you shake your head, but Kane's shaking his head because, specialists, they matter. Yep. And then Jesus Gomez is kicking field goals for us, and he hasn't been perfect this year, but he's really talented and really good. So our guys all believe in that. They believe in the importance of special teams, and we take those very seriously, and so much field position is won and lost, and every time, those units trot out there. And so they've played at a high level for us this year and have really helped us. And then defensively, we've had a couple blemishes. Haven't been perfect, but even some of that, I don't think our offense has just really given them, life at times. It's been, some one-sided at times, and our team is super close, and so we don't have issues in that way. But our defense has really played a championship caliber of play, for most of the season, and so. We'll be relying on them again, with our special teams to give us a chance. And then offensively, we're more than capable, and we've shown glimpses of playing well. We've not completed passes, at a completion percentage that would be our standard and what we would, want and need to do to play championship level football. And our running game's been good. Last year with both Samson and Jalen, we've had just this 1-1 punch that are very different. And, Samson's been just an absolute stud this year with, not being completely healthy all year and just getting ready to play games and helping in major ways, but in a limited fashion. And so Jalen is, with our offensive line and tight ends, has really handled our run game, and we'll be relying on them tomorrow as well.